we have had today. If you've caught any of the other panels, any of the other awards things that have happened today, it has been so exciting. And I have loved being here today. And I cannot believe it's my last introduction of the day, but I'm eyeing the bar cart right there, so I will be over there right after this is over. But today we have, on our last panel, it's a very exciting panel, and you're going to love it. I've been talking to some of the panelists backstage, and they're so insightful, so knowledgeable, and it is part of our technology track here at the stage today. And the title of the panel is AI, From Buzzword to Breakthrough, Next Steps and New Tools for Interior Designers, sponsored by Janair. So as a designer myself, I have my thoughts on AI, I do, and I've dabbled in it a little bit. So I'm so excited to see how I measure up with this panel of experts that you guys are going to see today. But first, let's hear from our sponsor, Janair, who is the sponsor of this entire panel. So please help me welcome to the stage Jeremy Jones, who is going to talk about Janair's commitment to technology and then also introduce the panel to you guys. Welcome, Jeremy.
Thanks, Michael. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here today. Thank you to the Next Stage team for this amazing opportunity. For those of you who aren't familiar with Janair, Janair is part of Whirlpool Corporation. We've been around since 1965, and we actually started out in downdraft ventilation. Since then, Janair has evolved into one of the best luxury brands in America, and I'd love to invite you all to our booth W1801 in West Hall if you haven't already been there to see it. Now, why is Janair sponsoring this Next Stage panel? Today we're going to be talking a little bit about AI and technology, and I want you all to know that one of Janair's pillars is actually disruptive technology. So when you think of appliances, you might be thinking of cold metal boxes, but at Janair, we truly believe that luxury means breaking the rules and doing what feels good to you. And that might mean an open concept kitchen with a floating island. It might mean a wine or coffee maker in your bedroom closet. The opportunities are endless with Janair. So with that, I also want to highlight our partnership with the NKBA. This year, we've partnered with NKBA's Vice Chair, Carrie Kelly, to design the Smoldering Lounge in our booth space. So again, we invite you to check it out in booth W1801. With that, I'd like to show you a quick introduction of what our product looks like. And again, we invite you to check it out in our space. With that, I do also want to invite you again to visit our booth. We have partnered this year with a couple of partners that you may also see here at the convention. So Bora, our partners in downdraft ventilation, Cosentino, Nature Squared, and Fabuwood. With that, let's go ahead and get this session started. We've brought together an amazing group of experts on stage today who will dive into the next step in AI to give you practical tools for your business. And moderating this panel is going to be Michael Wolf, the founder of The Spoon. Michael is the founder and publisher of The Spoon. He's also created the Smart Kitchen Summit, the Food AI Summit, and the CES Food Tech Conference. He also runs the Spoon Podcast Network. Joining Michael on stage is going to be Jenna Gudasic, Jonah Kilday, and Lori Leisure.
Oh, they gave us a tape.
Let's give it up for our guests.
All right. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Give Janair a big round of applause for sponsoring this. This is such a fun topic to talk about. I'm really excited to explore this with you guys, these experts next to me, because I run an event called the Food AI Summit, and it's an event that really looks at how the food system is changing from all the way from farm, big tractors, to how we're cooking in our kitchen. And I have to tell you, I've been following technology for 20 years. I don't think any technology has been more disruptive and has people thinking about how their industry is going to change than AI. And I'm sure designers and appliance makers and showroom companies are all thinking about how AI is going to change their business. So we're going to introduce these folks. Before we do, let's take a quick poll. Who is using AI in their workflow, ChatGPT, or any other types of tools? Raise your hand. Pretty good. Pretty good. All right. All right, we're going to hear more about how these folks are using it. We're going to jump into that, but let's introduce and get to know our panelists a little bit. Next to me is Lori Leisure. Lori, tell us a little bit about what you do.
I run interior design community, so you might have seen us on Instagram. We have about 109,000 designer followers on Instagram. We do questions of the day, memes, lots of learning, lots of great articles, blog posts, and podcasts. So that's a little what I just talk to designers all day long.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Next to you is Jenna Gaduzek. Oh, so worried.
You did it.
Jenna, you're a co-owner, or wait, you're interior, I apologize. You're the managing director and founder of AI for Interior Designers.
Yes.
What do you do there?
So I am an interior designer myself, and I teach AI for interior designers. I also have a podcast. It's called AI for Interior Designers Podcast.
Awesome.
SEO friendly.
And finally, last but not least, is Jonah Kilday. Jonah, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Sure. I'm an interior designer with an office of MK Workshop is the name of our studio. We have an office in Brooklyn, New York, and Austin, Texas, with a showroom in Austin as well that sells our product lines, our rugs, fabrics, and furniture.
Great. Well, let's start in and hear a little bit about how you guys started on your AI journey and how you're using them in your everyday work. And I'll start with you, Lori. So when did you start using AI, and how did you kind of start to think about using it within your workflow?
Well, I would say for me, AI has been about saving time for me. So if I was doing some research to write a blog post, if I wanted to figure out what I wanted to say in a podcast panel, questions, I would refine that. And you can actually now use the voice function too, so you can just kind of talk through lots of different ideas and then create a better prompt based on that. And it's really, for me, just saving so much more time. And I am able to feel like I'm everywhere because I can just produce so much more work.
So you're not necessarily hiring more people.
Right.
You're supercharging your workflow and just being more productive.
Right, absolutely.
Jenna, tell us about what you've been training other people how to use AI, but how did you yourself get into starting to use AI in your work?
So I started by looking at all the programs and all the apps that were out about 2 years ago, and then just making fun of them on my Instagram account because they were really, really bad. And I was like, this does not replace an interior designer, but there's potential here. So let's keep an eye on this and let's see how it can actually help us to make more money and cut out time doing these monotonous little tasks that we just don't necessarily have to be doing. Oh, that's my list of tools right there. Those are just a few that I use, but that'll keep coming up.
Yeah, and we're going to make sure that this is a very practical session, and we're going to ask each of these folks how and what tools they're using. So maybe you in the audience can maybe start on your journey if you haven't already, take some great tips. And so we'll get to that in a bit. But Jonah, tell us a little bit about how you got started with AI.
I think it's been forced on us. I feel like every time I open up a new program, there's an AI adaptive quality to it. I originally started playing around with it we're a small boutique firm, so anything sort of admin that I can take off of my shoulders and put into AI for note-taking. I will give lots of examples later, I'm sure, but so the admin side of things is a huge time saver for me. It does a lot of my spreadsheets, calendar, that sort of thing. And then I really got excited about the opportunities to create. We work primarily in SketchUp modeling, so using those SketchUp models and creating photorealistic renderings was really something that piqued my interest and that I've been playing around with a lot since we got started.
Great. So I'm looking at some of the renderings that you did using AI. So is that one of the ways in which you're accelerating your workflow in terms of how you're maybe, Jenna, how you're basically producing your work for your customers?
Yeah, so the one that you see right now is actually a render in the left-hand corner on the bottom. I use the Mydoma visualizer. They actually acquired my company previously, so I still use them. And I used a style transfer to basically get different ideas and different looks and to bring them to life even more. So I'm still rendering everything, but AI helps with the conceptual phase. So you're not scrolling forever for imagery that you have in your head that you want to show your client before you sit there and render it for the next 8 hours. You can figure out what the game plan is, present it, have that visual communication, and then you can like move on and like really nail the client's style. But this just saves time, and I also have never been a fan of using other designers' work to like highlight and showcase things. So this gives me more control over the entire process to use AI generated imagery, but it is not replacing my hand-done renders. Hand-done renders, you know, I'm still to scale doing all of my construction documents and renderings.
Laura, you're out there talking, I think, to your community. You have a big community, and I would imagine increasingly some of the conversation has been around this topic of AI, because how can we avoid it in modern society? What are some of the trends you're observing in terms of how your community of designers and the design community is using it? Is it something where they're starting to use it in their workflow? Like Jenna, or I mean, what are any trends you're seeing?
I think that initially designers were feeling threatened a little bit by AI, and they
natural, right?
Absolutely, and no one wants to have someone or to feel like their job could be replaced, and creativity is not really able to be replaced by AI. But I think as we started to use it, I mean, I remember distinctly one of the late night talk show guys talking to Timothy Chalamet, and he was just chatting about it, and he said, I chat GPT to recipe. And the moment he said that, I was like, this is Google for people now. It's where you would go to Google for recipe of anything, like Ina Garten's baked risotto. You would have to you scroll through, find that recipe, read this big long, post about the recipe, the blogger's like childhood memory about it, and then a bunch of ads, and then you finally get the recipe. We've all done that. And this it immediately gives you what you're looking for. And you can continue to have a conversation and teach you things that you don't even know you wanted to ask about that. And so I just see so many designers embracing it because it's giving back moments of their day. And I'll give you one really smart example is I have designers who get emails all the time from clients that are really tough. I actually just was sitting with a designer earlier today. She just had to leave because the contractor didn't have the right tile. And the client's upset. So you get these emails, you're feeling that frustration. You're immediately, your blood pressure is going crazy. You're feeling like, oh my gosh, and you have to react to that scary email. And I think it's more than that. We can really utilize ChatGPT to reword those emails in a different way that you're even taking in. So your inbound email that you got from the client, you read that first line, you know it's going to be a tough email. You take that, you put in ChatGPT, you're still going to get the information, but you're not going to be mentally absorbing the toxicity that might be in the email, and you're not going to be up at night worried about how you respond. You can just kind of get it over with and move along. And I think that mental energy is the biggest part that it's going to save for designers.
Yeah, I do that. It frees us up from having to I spend an hour writing an email. That's super important.
Yeah.
But if the first draft can hack it out and then kind of fine tune it with your words, you're kind of molding the clay a little bit. Are you seeing that as well? Are you kind of molding the clay?
I do that. No, 100%. So, things go wrong in our industry. So you get these emails that are, kind of concerning from clients that are angry about something. I used to sit with that anxiety for like 24 hours and just let it eat me alive, because I would take all of that on and I would feel awful that I'm sort of letting somebody down, even though it was most likely out of my control. Now I open those up, I seek out those emails right away. I'll put that first draft into ChatGPT, and then I'll give it some like prompts about the circumstance, and then just having that rough draft there for me to then go and edit to make it more personal for me has completely changed the game for me. Like the anxiety's gone about these sort of things.
Right. I mean, I think that is a game changer for
Yeah,
designers. I mean,
it really
I always
is.
would say on the podcast, I'm like, there's a designer not going to bed tonight.
Yeah.
They're going to stay up all night.
I would be up all
stressing
night
about
thinking,
that.
yeah,
exactly.
tossing and turning.
And this is one thing that will allow them, and not just that, your whole life, all the things that you need to do. If you need to schedule your day so that you are getting a walk in the morning, or you are getting some self-care.
Eat lunch. Don't
eating
skip
your
lunch.
and eating a healthy lunch. You can tell ChatGPT your dietary restrictions, your budget, and it will spit out a list of
And what's
things
in your
that
fridge and your pantry.
Right.
Say, work with this.
Work with this.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it's about saving time and making us a little bit more relaxed in the way that we move forward in our lives.
Yeah, and there's a whole cohort of companies trying to do things like creating essentially a personalized nutrition manager, for example, right? Because, I mean, it's not kind of dystopian in a way, but also like there's just not enough expertise where we can all have our own personalized nutritionist. So if you can have an app be that front line, right, that can kind of do that, that's really interesting. Let's look into our crystal balls a little bit and maybe think about the future and how our jobs in kitchen and kitchen design will change. You know, Jenna, when you think about the future 5 years from now, and you think about the job of being a kitchen designer, working in this space, how do you think it'll change? You think it's table stakes to be using tools like this? Do you think roles will change? Talk about what you're thinking there.
I get this question a lot, and I don't know how to answer it because I can't tell you where we're going to be in 6 months from right now with AI. Like it's moving so quickly. But I did just do a podcast about my predictions, at least what I would like to see, because I don't cook. I married a chef. I do not cook a single thing in the kitchen. If I did, people would never eat it, so I just stopped. But I would love to see kitchen appliances that, and we're starting to, that are AI integrated that can help me in the kitchen, like the robot arms, things like that. I want to see like actual helpful things that I can integrate into my everyday life to help me in areas that I lack. And on the design front, it's the same thing. So I'm trying to find things that can help me to speed up little processes and be able to do the things that I love, like designing just all the time, and get rid of all the other stuff.
How about you, Jenna? What do you think? Where are we going here?
Yeah, I agree with Jenna. I think it's just going to be further forced upon us. I am somebody who actually, I'm avoidant to some sort of appliance being attached to AI. I don't need all this information bombarding me at all times. I find that frustrating.
That's true.
But it is a time saver ultimately. I'm looking forward to sort of. Jenna was talking about on your podcast, I forget the name, if you even gave the name of the new software program or new AI system that's rolling out that will do photorealistic renderings based off of our 2D drawings, and by putting in the specific materials and examples,
2D
and it's spitting
pictures
out.
to 3D models. I just put it in that list this morning. If
Oh,
you guys
great.
want to check it out, it's out of beta.
Yeah, check out her podcast, by the way. It's amazing. I listen to her podcast. I'm a big fan of Jenna's. I think that she's leading the charge in our industry. Her website's amazing, great content. Did I answer your question?
Yeah,
I forgot what it was.
You did a good job.
Okay, great.
What about you? How do you see, when you look into the crystal ball, what do you see happening in the future in about 5 years, 10 years?
I don't really have a crystal ball, but I will say that I talk to a lot of the brands quite a bit, and I know that the next big thing is going to involve sensors, and sensors that are you won't even be able to see it. It's in the wall, but it will know you when you enter your environment and be able to adjust the room based on on personal preferences. So if you like light very bright, and you like certain music, you like a certain tone, you like the blinds halfway down. I know my daughter, she loves to close everything. I love everything open. It will be able to adjust all sorts of environment.
Temperature.
Yeah, temperature, everything for you personally, which is, I think, amazing, right?
When you and your daughter are in the room together, will it kind of just open and close all the time?
Yeah, I think it would probably defer to homeowner.
Have a medium.
Who pays the bills?
Right.
You have priority. Someone asked me about, someone said today, it seems like the emphasis at the Consumer Electronics Show is going from smart home to AI. And I said, actually, I think what's happened is the smart home was, I think, a lot about these kind of Internet of Things sensors. And we never really reached the potential we were talking about 10 years ago. But when you layer on it AI, this intelligence, you get this contextual and scenario building, like, hey, it knows that I'm in the room or Jenna's in the room. It can build around my specific preferences. I think that's what AI is going to supercharge in terms of the smart home and the future kitchen.
Right. I mean, it could be as simple as Jenna and I are sitting in a room together and we want to play music. And it will play some of Jenna's favorite music and some of my favorite music because it knows we're in the room together. So it's learning too. If you are constantly passing by a certain song, it's going to stop playing that. I mean, it's learning how you behave and how you navigate your space.
All right. Well, get your pencils ready and your cameras ready. We're going to ask about some tools. And this is actually a great time because, Jenna, your AI tool set is up there, and people can scan that QR code and go to your website with some.
It does. I do just require an email because I do update it. Like I said this morning, I just added more stuff. So you just get an update when I add new things to that.
But can you talk to some of these tools? What are your go-tos and how are you using them?
Yeah, so let's start at the beginning with note takers for every single conversation that you have. Obviously you're going to disclose, right? That's just what we do for legal purposes. But I use what's called Plod. It is and I didn't bring it with me, but it is a little note taker that can be in a room with you. It can be on walkthroughs. It connects to your phone. I've used this for about a year now. You can get it on Amazon. It's also on my list there. They have necklaces and I think maybe a watch format.
A watch, yeah.
Yep. But it connects to an app and it's just taking transcripts and notes of everything that you're doing. You can also attach it to your phone and it's like a two-way phone call conversation too. So it's making sure that you're not missing a single thing that happened in any setting, like walkthroughs, client meetings. So I work virtually. I've worked virtually since 2015, and I do Zoom for everything. So when I have a client, the first initial call, I use Fathom with my Zoom call for online note-taking. I've tried others. I also like Lindy, but that's a whole side story. But Fathom is reliable. It records everything, and then it gives me notes and action items. It generates automatically action items, and then one click of a button, I can send it off to the other person that was on the call. So then they have all those things. So what I'm doing is I'm then taking those notes in transcript and just running that through ChatGPT and saying, what's next? And then give me dates, give me deliverables. And then I put that into my Motion AI calendar. And that helps me to time block. And it also replaced Calendly for me. So it's like an all-in-one AI-generated time blocking calendar that just helps with my productivity because I've got wicked ADHD and I cannot focus on all these things that I need to be doing. So for productivity, those are my a few of my favorite tools. But then when we get into things like Stable Diffusion-based apps, which would basically be able to give you ideas and conceptual ideation for either the images that you already have, turn some of your 2D concepts into 3D, and then tools like Visual Electric, which I know Lori's going to mention too, because it's our favorite for generative AI. It's flawless, and you'll see in here in my office at my house, 2 of the images with the rainbows were from Visual Electric. I didn't know what I wanted to paint for the backdrop behind me. I knew I wanted to use these specific colors, but I had no idea what to do. So I went to Visual Electric, and then I got ideas for that, and then turned it into something in real life. But there's so many ways, so many tools.
So many tools, and I would recommend checking out your website. I did join a Zoom call the other day, and it was just me and 5 AI note takers. So I started talking to them, and I didn't know. Pretty soon, I think all the meetings would just be our AI note takers, and we don't even show up.
Avatars. Yeah.
Exactly. So, Lori, how about you? What are the tools you're using?
I would say I favor ChatGPT. My favorite 3 really are ChatGPT, which I use for so many different marketing efforts. I use it to, begin blogging. I use it for planning out, my schedule. I use it for podcast interview questions. I use it for lead magnets for getting more people to sign up for my email list. I use it for a lot of different, research and marketing efforts. I also really like Visual Electric, and that's we do a lot of memes on interior design community, so I put The images that are behind our meme, I want them to be very interior design friendly. So, I don't have copyright restriction problems. I use that for my blog images as well. And it's really surprising how good you can get the photo to look. It looks pretty, Visual Electric is a really great tool. And then I use the script a lot because we do our podcast. And I think this is actually beneficial to your designers because I know so many of you really want to do more video content, but you're afraid of the editing aspect of that. And Descript will allow you to immediately take out the ums and ahs. And a really great part of it, and Loom is another one that does it, but it has a circle of your face. And so when you're doing a presentation to your client, you can actually just have your face talking about the presentation and email that to your client. And if they want to send that to their significant other or their, because sometimes it's multiple decision makers, they can pass that on and it's not losing your intent of that conversation because you're describing and walking them through everything. So you could be walking them through your contract. You could be walking them through your welcome documents. This is what will happen and this is what the stages of this project will look like. And it just makes it more personal and it's not as hard because it has easy editing features and AI editing features, you're not having to be that editor.
That was called Loop?
Loom. Yeah.
Loom?
That's how I do it.
Loom and Descript.
Oh, I haven't heard about that one yet.
It's
I would
so
use
great.
that.
So great.
Riverside does the same.
Yeah,
for
Riverside
podcasts,
too. Yeah.
It's text-based editing too. You don't have to actually cut and paste all these
Right.
video components. You can say, oh, I said here. I just delete It takes it out of the video.
Right.
So
Or if you
valuable.
said, it also can utilize your own voice. So it starts to learn your voice. And if you want to change something you said in the video, you can text edit, change what you want to say, luxury design, not just design.
That's,
that's
cool.
great.
And text edit, which is so great. I mean, you can
Yeah.
sit there and just fix it or write the script for yourself on ChatGPT.
Well, I like the idea of the head being a
Yeah.
part of the presentation.
I send a lot of proposals, and I'm telling you, it helps you close those proposals so much better. And I will say yours with the Claude, it's such a CYA tool, right? Because, how many times have you talked to one partner versus the other about some issue, and the other person kind of always, right? And this way, you could be like, no, this is exactly what was said.
And I just search too. If I'm
Yeah.
oh, what was the paint color or something that we talked about? I search
Yeah.
the word paint in the transcript and then I can find it right there.
Right, yeah.
I do want you to start thinking of questions. If you have questions about how you can get started, some tools you can maybe use and how you can alter your design flow, these are the perfect people to ask. So start generating some questions. Jonah, any tools that you're loving that you can talk about?
I use ChatGPT. I rely on that the most. I think I use my company's databases all through, or system is all through Google, so I use a lot of Gemini. I also will record messages on my phone, meetings on my phone or through Google Meet, and then transcribe them and create client profiles from that data in ChatGPT. I use my architect to pull my SketchUp rendering and make it more photorealistic. And then I'll take it from my architect. It's interesting because I use a lot of these tools together. So I find that I get good at my architect, but the photorealistic stuff isn't quite as crisp and the lighting seems to be a little bit off for me for whatever reason. So I'll take it into ChatGPT and I'll adjust those things there, which is what you'll see the slides. That's actually finished in ChatGPT, started in SketchUp, went to my architect. I use Visual Electric for prototyping furniture designs and rug designs for our new collections. I'll often do Visual Electric for if I have a piece in mind that I want to show to a client that I want to give a rough idea, but I don't want to spend the time 8 hours designing something. I can come up with a quick drawing to sort of give a visual representation of where my mind was at for a client, which I really like. Anything time saving for me, which ChatGPT really shines with that.
That's great. As as a journalist, I have to be kind of a little bit of a downer and just kind of ask, what are the downsides here? In the creative arts and creators, oftentimes they'll say, these tools, they're kind of replacing me, or I don't necessarily want it to take my IP. So I think these are things we have to talk about. So I know, Jenna, you talked a little bit about how you're always making sure that you are doing the first design, you're using this to fine tune. What are your thoughts on this?
I think just the ethics of it all, and this is something Lori and I talk about a lot because it is the Wild West, and people use the tools, and the tools are set up by tech developers, not necessarily with the integrity of creatives in mind. So yes, of course, a lot of these were trained on open source photos. The chances of you probably using the same words and getting exactly the same image is just very slim, to be honest, because it's pulling from just millions of aspects from so many different pictures. However, stable diffusion-based programs like this one, literally right now, you see the bottom left, that's an AI-generated image that I put over my rendering, and it's called the style transfer. Now, when you do a style transfer, you can bring in another image that basically pulls the style, the colors, and then it overrides your original image. I never use somebody else's work, even for that. Just because you can doesn't necessarily mean that you should. So if you can create your own images and use those, then do that in every situation that you can, just to stay on the up and up. I would hate to have my work stolen by somebody else, so I would not want to do that to somebody.
What do you think?
Well, we've had some designers report to us that other designers were claiming AI images as real work. That's absolutely not a great idea. I mean, obviously, it's a small industry, everyone talks. It's a surefire way of at least within the design community, people seeing you as a fraud. And it's tempting, as a young designer, when you really don't have the portfolio and you want to show potential clients what you think you could do, it's so tempting to just kind of have those images available to show this. I could do this, you know. I just haven't gotten the right project yet. But you have to resist those things and understand that it's not your work, and it's not, you know. And we've had some reports of designers doing that through social media, and even unfortunately on their portfolios too, which is really tricky.
You're talking about specifically, though, creating like generative AI, like pulling just from nothing, right?
Yes.
Not from a drawing that they did. Okay,
yeah.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah. And then we also, I think the other tricky part is you have to read the terms and conditions for some of these programs, because as you know, you probably upload your own IP into, like, your own intellectual property into that program. You're giving them that intellectual property. So it could be a drawing. Now they own that, and they're using that to train their future design projects. So I think that's just something to be really, really aware of.
Yeah, and you don't want to, you want to be fully transparent, I would think, with your customers, right? Because
oh, absolutely.
in the world of journalism, CNET got caught by basically firing some journalists and having AI write articles, and they just got a big pie in their faces. It was so embarrassing. But I imagine designers, you really want to, it's a big relationship based on trust. So you really want to be transparent, and if you are using AI in some way to maybe help and benefit your clients, you want to be very clear about that.
Absolutely. I think that's something Jenna and we talked about it in the very beginning, because it is so tempting for some designers who are just starting out to sort of show it as ideation. And they might even write like really tiny, it's AI, but, you know, and that's really tricky. I don't know that it's the right move. I would rather see portfolios always have real work to show you. You know, you can start small like everyone else and do little vignettes if you need to get that experience, but resisting things that you know feel wrong. You have to imagine, like, everything that we're producing through AI is not copyright. You can't copyright it. So you have to put in some original thought and original idea to make that something that is your own IP again.
I think you mentioned at the beginning, there was initially maybe some people scared of it, and
oh,
that
yeah.
it could displace it. And we were talking backstage about how I was at the CES, and I went up to this kiosk, and it just used AI to give me my eyewear prescription. I'm thinking, we just displaced the optometrist. So, I mean, is there a fear that we can maybe displace the designer, or is it a relationship that consumers will continue to value even as AI can whip up kitchen designs? You know,
I think really, if we're realistic about it, some projects that probably never should have been interior design projects will get displaced, because if it's the client that intended just to get a shopping list and try to get into that project management themselves anyway, they might be tempted to just, eventually we'll be able to kind of have an ideation of a design, be able to show a picture of their room, have a model. I mean, Canvas.io has, like, you can take your photo of your camera and just go up and down and create a 3D model of a space, throw it into ChatGPT and have some real products, and there you can make a design for yourself. I think for a certain client, that's probably going to be good enough for them. But interior design is a service-based industry, and it's just like AI is not going to clean your house, AI isn't going to walk your dog, AI is not going to design your house personally for you and give you ideas that you never even thought of, over a real designer. They're taking your information and they are disseminating that with all of the things that they actually know about design and where everything is going. And I don't think AI will ever do that.
I do want to start asking questions in the audience, and we have our person with the microphone there. So if anyone has a question, raise your hand. There's someone in the back, or first you, then we'll get that gentleman back there.
Hi.
Hi there.
Thank you. So I'm a big advocate of AI. I use it for everything, like literally taking picture of my fridge and asking for ideas. And my question, I'm an interior designer as well. So my question is there any tool out there that would take the picture of an existing interior or like an empty room, and it will give you the exact rendering of it with some ideas for the concept creation? Because I've been trying a lot of tools and nothing really worked well.
Well, that Canvas.io I think you should go check it out. They're here actually at the show, so you should absolutely go check them out. They have a team that you can, so that I will tell you, it's not specific, for kitchen and bath, for instance, it's not detail oriented on measurement. So, but you can measure yourself and give them those measurements, and they will change the model so that it is dead accurate. So they have a great team. They really turn those models over quickly, and I think it's a great tool for designers, and to give you that full render, and you can do it in minutes. I mean, it's
Canvas.io.
Canvas.io. It's awesome.
Sir?
All right, this question might be for Jenna. For MyDoma, you hereby grant MyDoma a non-exclusive, non-transferable, I'll go on, uploaded, let's see, it says, irrevocable, worldwide, royalty-free, fully paid-up license to use and otherwise exploit the content provided. Is that something we should be worried about when we're using products like MyDoma and some of these other AI products where it's
MyDoma is not an AI tool, that's a rendering.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm just saying when we're uploading things, that kind of statement, where we're saying, like, should we be worried about how they're using that data?
Not MyDoma, because that's like a rendering program and you're doing like rendering stuff, and then it's project management. But yes, for other things, I am always cautious. I always think somebody's going to steal my stuff online. I don't put personal things in ChatGPT. Like, I remove as much as I possibly can. Always be cautious. Anything can be hacked. Always protect yourself. I do have an episode with some copyright attorneys. If that's something that you want to listen to, is the first one of this year. Yep.
Read the terms of service.
Always. It's messy.
More questions, anyone?
Hey there. I own a design build firm, and I think all of these tools are super awesome and super helpful. Where I struggle is to create like a workflow that allows me to integrate all of them. Are you all aware, or do you all offer any kind of course for those in our industry that kind of teaches how to integrate these tools into kind of one seamless workflow for
Can I just say,
business management?
Jenna does that. And
Oh,
she
yeah.
has her own custom GPTs, and she not only does she can walk you through and help you tech stack all of the different AI tools you need, but she also, won't say this, but she also talks to the AI companies directly often and helps them further develop for designers. So she is, on the ground, not only teaching designers AI and giving them tools, but also helping the AI companies really go further and know what they need to do for designers. So she's amazing.
I rely on her a lot. She's
Yeah.
her podcasts are very direct and easy to follow. I find them super helpful.
I think, another question?
Yeah, hi, my name's Nikki. I'm a designer in Portland, Oregon. Do you know of any AI programs or websites that can help to create texture files with maps and things like that? Not necessarily on generic materials, but say like, oh, hey, I want this specific Dell tile, size.
Are you trying to create some seamless textures?
Exactly.
Okay. Yes. I can't think of them off the top of my head right now. I make my own seamless textures typically just by cropping and clipping, but there's free ones. I literally just ChatGPT, because I don't Google anymore, it's just ChatGPT, or Perplexity, which we haven't even talked about, which is an incredible research tool. Just look up AI seamless texture creators, and then you'll be able to run your textures, and it'll create that for you. Midjourney, also, if you need to create one that is kind of like a look-alike type texture, because these programs are not taking exact things with generative AI right now, copyright restrictions and whatnot, which I appreciate, and I think a lot of artists do too. So you can do dash dash tile at the end of your Midjourney prompts, and that actually creates a repetitive seamless texture. It's the best that I've seen out there when it comes to generative AI programs.
Other questions? Oh, let's go back there.
Hi, I just wanted to ask if what your monthly budget for AI tools looks like.
Mine's probably like 5 times what you would pay because I try everything.
Yeah.
ChatGPT is $20 a month. The free version's not doing anything for you. You must upgrade. It will pay for itself immediately, right? Am I?
Yeah.
Okay. And then Visual Electric is, I think, I pay $60 just because I'm on the second tier. Midjourney's $10 a month. What else? Perplexity, if you don't use ChatGPT, because Perplexity has ChatGPT and then a ton of other models inside of it, and it's an incredible research tool for searching the internet, but that one's only $20 a month too for pros. So I would say max maybe $100 a month, but it depends on your tech stack and what your goals are.
Yeah, I would say mine's right around 120, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But if you're producing enough work that you are not paying for staff to do those tasks for you, to me it's saving me money. It's keeping me lean where I don't have to hire out for everything. I can actually use it for my to increase my productivity and make me more productive.
Pays itself back really.
It does. I mean, I would be thinking about what the hourly rate for my VA would be on some of these tasks, and I'm definitely saving.
I also want to say that I add, for my assistants, I create custom GPTs and train them on my brand voice and have them rewrite or write things for my blog and podcast stuff. So he's using the ones that I build for him. So I'm not taking away a job. I'm just getting him to do the job that is not something that I want to do, but need to do in a way that I don't need to correct it and oversee him because I've already built the GPTs and trained them on how I want it to sound.
I just got a quick suggestion. I know there are a lot of AIs out there. How do you learn the art of prompting the AI? Is there a technique or something else to learn?
Absolutely.
Because I think none of the AI is as good as you prompted correctly. Mm-hmm. And I just want to know, how do you learn that?
It's a learned thing too, and it evolves. Every time I learn a new prompt, and you're probably the same way, you learn a new prompt tool. So for instance, if I want really great blog posts, I've learned that over the year or so that I've been using since ChatGPT started, I have developed my own ChatGPT to do blogging, and I've fed it lots of information about how I write. I've given it a lot of data, words I don't want them to use because I don't want it to sound like AI. I want it to have short sentences and long sentences. I want it to use things like exclamation points because that's how humans behave. You want it to sound like you and be like you. So over the time, I have experimented with tons of different prompts. And I will say a great prompt engineer tool is ChatGPT itself. They can actually help you write better prompts. You can tell it to act as a prompt engineer, but even then test what works for you, what you like, what the outcome you want, the output looks like. If you don't like it, you need to change how that prompt looks to you. Because you want essentially to create something that is spitting out what you want to see.
And there are prompt libraries, right? Like
oh, absolutely.
And
there are so many great resources out there for free prompting. Jenna, you have some great ChatGPTs too that help them kind of go walk through that system.
Yeah, I would say talk to it like a normal person. Like, I think a lot of people think you have to talk to it like a robot. It's a large language model. Large language model means that it was trained on human language. It literally read our books, it read our blogs, it scoured the internet. Was it legal? Probably not. But it did that, and that's how it learned how we talk. So if you speak to it, like I love the voice-to-voice conversation in ChatGPT because me and that chick, like we have great conversations and it's just like talking to a person and you get all the information out. I also do all of my prompts with ChatGPT. Every picture prompt, like every single, how do I say this? How do I build my custom GPT? How do I do this? Okay, let's make that better. And it's never the first answer. You have to keep asking questions like a conversation with a human being. If you want to know something, you keep asking. You don't just close it out and walk away.
Yeah. My sister literally uses it as her therapist. It's hilarious. It's so funny.
It's like my mom, I gave her an Alexa for Christmas a couple years ago, and like she lives by herself. She's like, every time I call her, Michael, I just love Alexa. I'm getting kind of scared while she's talking. But you can do amazing things. It does give you superpowers. One of my Carlos who works with me, he's not a coder, but he told me I've always wanted to bring this video game into existence. I always had an idea for a video game, and so he just asked ChatGPT to start coding a video game, and he ended up getting a finished video game, just by using and prompting. Crazy. And he's not a coder. So it is kind of amazing. And so the things we can create with it are pretty impressive. Yeah. Any other questions from the audience?
We have time for one more. If anybody else has anything.
Last chance. All right. Well, quick rounds. Each get about a minute. So if you're looking into the future and what you're excited about with regards to AI and your job, what are you most excited about? Start with you, Lori.
I think I'm just excited that this gives designers the ability to be more productive and actually have a better work-life balance and a better life. To me, it's about taking some of the burdens off of us. And that's the emotional parts of it are the most exciting.
Jenna?
I mean, I have so many things that I have wanted to do that have been sitting on my to-do list, and now by not having to sit here and write blog posts or do like these silly little mundane tasks that we have to do to market ourselves, I can actually go through those creative checklists that I've had for so long and start like getting the things back that I just love to do again. Yeah.
Jonah?
Yeah, I agree with Lori and Jenna. The time saving alone and the emotional lack of anxiety. You know, I used to work weekends all the time. I'm saving enough time where I don't have to work weekends, which is amazing. And when you have a small firm like myself, it's all we do is work constantly, and it's all hours of the day, every day, and it weighs you down. It's hard, and it's really helped with my schedule. Like that's the big seller to me, to other designers when they're very apprehensive. I'm like, you have no idea how much time it saves me and stress.
Right.
Well, you know what AI can't do yet is pour you a drink. And so the bartenders still are in work for at least a couple more years. So I think they're having happy hour afterwards. So go get a drink after this. I want to thank our sponsor. Give a big round of applause again to Jen Air. And give a round of applause to these great panelists. Great job, guys. It's been great.
Good job.
Thank you.